So let's go ahead and go to the program file here, and let me show you another little feature that I think people are going to be pretty happy with. So if you look on line, I think it's line 13 there, I've got var staff count equals 0.
Yes.
And I'm doing that. You can make your Solution Explorer go away, and I think we'll see a little bit more code and be happier here. Okay, and so that's in order to pass that as an out parameter into the get thank you messages method.
Okay.
We won't worry about what get thank you messages
Sure.
does right now. I'll tell you a little bit more about what the app is doing in a minute.
Gotcha. But you're defining staff count here because you have to pass it as an out parameter to this method.
That is exactly
Okay.
what we have to do
Gotcha.
here. Okay, so you'll see that there's some little dots underneath var. So why don't you
Yep.
position on that and hit Control period. I think this is a refactor. It might not be. And it says inline variable declaration. Okay, so
Okay.
why don't you just hit Enter.
I'm not sure what that means. Wait a minute.
So line 13 went away.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the variable declaration is now...
The variable declaration is no longer there, and it did mess up our spacing a little bit, so if you want to fix that, just because I'm a little bit fanatic about these things,
Absolutely.
just a little fanatic, then you'll see that it says out int staff count.
Yes, I do.
So that's a little different than anything we're quite used to seeing, and it's an inline declaration of an out parameter.
Interesting.
So we had the word out before, we've added the word int. And so what that says is just make a variable in the surrounding scope, stick it in here. Why did I have to, create that and set it to 0? That was silly anyway.
Right, yeah. But so this is almost like a... This is an interesting question. So this is absolutely new to me, right?
Okay.
So lots of questions come up. So obviously staff count is accessible outside of the method call, right? So
It
it's
is.
an out, so that variable is declared in the same scope it would have been the previous.
And it's called
syntax.
Surrounding Scope.
Okay.
Okay, so you
Thank
take
you.
the point at which the method is being called, which is on line 13, and you go to the next bigger scope, which might have been a block, could have been a loop, could have been an if statement. In this case, it is the whole method.
Gotcha.
But it's the next bigger scope is where that's going to be applicable.
Very nice. And so yeah, and
Okay.
then down here on 17, you're actually referencing it.
And you can
And you-
absolutely do
and it
that
would
with
do
no
that. Sweet.
problem.
That's awesome.
Okay.
And so next question, Kathleen.
Yeah.
So we have int. Assuming I could cram any kind of type in there I want.
Yes, you can put any type you need to in there. So
Fantastic.
absolutely. So that works just fine.
Fantastic.
Okay. Now, I'm not using a C#6 feature here that I could be using.
Okay.
So in C#6, one of the things that was introduced is something called string interpolation. Okay, and it's a way to work around string.format and not use the string.format approach. So if you position on string.format, now you're going to see a pattern here because I'm going to have you hit Control period. Okay, and now it says convert to interpolated string, and when you hit enter,
And again, just want to point out that the preview here is showing me exactly what it's going to do.
it's showing
I love it.
exactly what
I
you're
love
going to
it.
do.
I
And you
absolutely
hit
love
enter,
it.
and there you've got the interpolated string, just
Wow.
like that.
Okay, and this again, this is
Okay.
something that's completely new to me. So the $sign obviously is some kind of marker
Yes.
that's indicating that there's something inside the string that needs to be interpolated.
Exactly.
Interpolation meaning like we're going to break out a piece and fill it in with some value, right? And in this case, it's the brackets around staff count. That
Exactly.
indicate. Fantastic.
Okay.
So we just saved ourselves. I don't know how many times in my career I've typed string.format.
Yeah, and so there's just the fact you have to look at it, but then the bigger problem, the huge problem with string.format is that you put in the little curlies, you put 0 and you put 1, and then you start that list that you're going to get out there, okay? And if you don't count correctly and you're asking for 0, 1, and 2, but you only give an entry for 0, 1, that is a runtime error.
It is.
You can't catch it with a compiler.
It
Now
is.
there's a couple of little helper things that people have come up with over the years, but this gets you completely around that. There's also cases in which it's a little bit faster.
I believe you.
Yeah, so
I absolutely believe you.
this is a great one to do. But there's another one this is going to be sort of an awkward place to show it.
Can we ask you a question
Yeah,
about this
go
too?
ahead.
So staff count is an int, which is a value type, so it can't be null. But what if it was a string or some nullable type, and it happens to be null in the interpolation? Do you know what would show up in the string?
So it's going to be the same thing that would happen any place else that you would have a null, because the string interpolation is just a smoke and mirrors at compile time to go down to either a straight up string concatenation. So it might go, we don't care, to staff count plus staff count. It might go to the underlying string concat. It might go to string.format. And by the way, inside those curly braces, you can still put formatting characters. You can still do all of that stuff that you did before. Same thing, you use the colon, you set it up exactly the same way that you did before. So all of your formatting is right there together, which is super sweet.
That's way better than it was before, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Now, let me show you something else here.
Okay, yeah.
Go ahead and just type random characters, about 40 or 50 random characters. I don't care.
Inside of
right now, just start typing. Okay, put a space in there. Some more. Yeah, keep going. Okay, great. That's fine. We're good enough. Okay. Now, you started pushing off the edge. So you kind of like to wrap this, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
You know all that stuff where you have to put double quote and then a space and then a plus and all that? Yeah, you love doing that, right?
Absolutely.
Favorite thing to do. Okay, go someplace in there that you might want to make a break. Okay.
This looks like a good spot right there.
Go a little bit further to the left. No, that's fine.
Here, I'll go there.
Right there. Okay.
Make you happy.
Hit enter.
Ha!
Is that cool?
That's great.
Okay, so there we go.
So it's do what I want, not what I say, which I absolutely
exactly.
Absolutely
love. So that's cool. So it's it's just going to put in, if you break a string with an enter. I think this one works in C# and VB. This one might not work in VB.
Okay.
But VB does have an awful lot of these new features are coming there as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice.
Great.